We are recording the interview of Orville Ed Henderson. This interview is being conducted by Ericka Carter from the Wright State University Veterans Voice Project. This interview is being recorded at the Holiday Inn at 2800 Presidential Drive in Dayton, Ohio. It is 3:06 p.m. on June 7th, 2019. How are you today?
Fine.
Fantastic. Where and when were you born?
I was born in Montgomery, West Virginia, August 3rd, 1952.
August 3rd. I was born on the 7th.
Pardon?
I was born on the 7th.
The 7th?
Fantastic. I'm getting married on the 3rd this year.
Hey.
Yeah, good day. It's on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Have a good day. Okay. Who were your parents and what were their occupations?
My mom, later on, she was an elevator operator. We moved to Cleveland, Ohio. She was an elevator operator. My mom and dad got divorced when I was 3, and he was a mechanic.
What kind of mechanic?
Auto mechanic.
Okay. Did you have any siblings?
Yes. I had one sister and 2 half-sisters.
Okay. Did they serve in the military at all?
No.
Yeah, that wasn't common back then.
No.
All right. What were you doing before you entered the service?
I worked as a swing manager at McDonald's, and I also worked for Angelo's Pizza in Cleveland, Ohio.
How old were you?
19 when I went in. I was also in the Boy Scouts still.
Could you tell me about that?
I was junior assistant scoutmaster. I was in Boy Scouts from the time I was like about 14. Being from a city, I loved it because we went camping, hiking, stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. Did you have, when you were in high school, were you a part of any extracurricular activities?
Yeah, I was on the drinking team.
Okay.
I was not what you call your honor student. As a matter of fact, in my junior year, at the end of my junior year, the vice principal asked for my resignation in high school.
All right. All right. Okay. How'd you end up in the military?
Well, this is during the draft.
Okay.
And I had a job at McDonald's and the pizza place, but there wasn't a future, and I knew, I needed a future, a good job with a future. And every place you go, they'd ask you, what's your draft status? Well, pretty much 1A. So, we don't really want to train you, and then you get drafted and all this stuff. And, probably now they couldn't say that, but back then, yeah, hey, you in draft status, you're out of here. And so I went in the Air Force.
Okay, you're pretty tall, correct?
6 foot.
Did that land you in any special particular jobs for the Air Force?
No, when I went in, I wanted to be either a cop, air traffic controller, or loadmaster. And I found out later, you put down cop any choice, you got it. First, second, third, fifth choice, you got it. Because back then, they were hard up, I don't say hard up, but in desperate need for police.
Why do you think that is, or was?
The times, late 60s, it wasn't popular to be a cop. Like now, it's not popular to be a cop.
True.
I mean, it's popular to be a cop, but it's not safe to be a cop. I'm glad I'm retired.
Okay, that makes sense. You weren't drafted, you just went ahead because it was coming.
Keep getting drafted. Yeah, actually the handwriting on the wall.
And the Air Force was the safest bet, I assume?
Yeah. And my dad was in the Army. He was in Korea. And my uncle was in the Air Force. And I didn't really know him, but I heard a lot about the Air Force. I had a couple uncles who were in the Air Force. And I thought that was kind of the better deal, which I I think I made a wise choice. It was a better deal.
Did your dad ever talk to you about his Army time?
No, he was in Korea. He got a Bronze Star for, I can't think what his name, Clark. He was the commander of the forces in Korea, I believe. I could have this a little bit wrong.
Your dad was?
No.
Oh.
This guy got shot. This captain got shot. And it was his son. It was Clark's son. And he got a Bronze Star for it. He said, been a regular guy, I probably would have got nothing. He said, but since it was the old man's kid, you know, he got a Bronze Star. So that was it. But then my uncle, I didn't really talk to him a whole lot. I just knew about him and stuff. And so I said, I'll go in the Air Force. I didn't want to go in the Army. I'd heard too many horror stories and stuff. So the Air Force was a little more modern than the Army. So I went in the Air Force.
Everybody keeps putting down my branch today, but that's all right.
I put them down. They just wasn't, I don't want to say up to par.
I understand. We're ground soldiers. That's fine.
Well, the Air Force Security Police, we were the ground soldiers for the Air Force.
Sure. Sleeping in hotels and stuff.
Well, more so now. The new security forces do a whole lot more than we did back in the early 70s.
With their computers.
Well, no, they do escort Afghanistan stuff. There's been, I don't want to say a bunch of, but a lot of them killed over there. First female security police was killed over in Iraq.
First one, huh?
Yeah, first female security police. Jacobson was her name, I think, and IED killed her.
Terribly sorry to hear about that. Okay, back to you. So you join, and I think you head down to Lackland.
Yes.
All right. How old are you? 19?
19.
All right. How long is your basic?
Well, mine was a little special. I went in on they call it med rep. We call it the fat boy program. I weighed like about 250 pounds. And they took me, when I understood that when I went into basic, that after my first 7 days of training, the Air Force has 30 days of training. My first 7 days of training where you learn to fold your shirts and underwear and t-shirts and hankies and all that stuff. After that, they took me out, put me on the fat boy farm, and I was there for 11 and a half weeks, lost like 47, 48 pounds if I remember right. And then I went back into a different squadron to finish my basic training. So I was there a while. And then when I graduated from basic, I walked across the street to the PT field, walked across the PT field to the security police tech school barracks.
Was that different? Were you allowed more liberties than basic?
Oh yeah. You did your training, and when you got done with your training for that day, you could do what you didn't have to have permission to go to the theater or go to the laundry or go to the BX. In any of the clubs, you just went as long as you were back. Yeah, they had, I think it was a curfew. I think you had to be up by 10 or 11, I think, something like that. You had to be up by, you couldn't go out and spend the night nowhere.
Now, how different was the living for you?
What do you mean?
Well, you had come from Cleveland, right?
Right.
And now you're in Texas.
Oh, Texas. It was cold when I was there. December. It got cold at nighttime.
That's still a lot different than Cleveland.
Yeah, it wasn't as cold as Cleveland. Yes, I will say that. Yeah.
There wasn't no snow either. More than likely.
We had one night. We had just a dusting, but I smoked then, so we stand on the side of shivering. You see people in the outside buildings sitting there shivering and stuff, smoking cigarettes.
I want to feel bad for you, but I live in Ohio. I'm a California girl. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Okay. Was it easy for you to transition into military life?
Yes.
Why?
I guess the discipline and the freedom I had. I mean, I lived at home and I was 19 years old now. Do what I wanted, you know, pretty much. I mean, most things you do what you want, but you didn't have to, Mom, can I do this? Mom, I'm going here. Mom, I'm going there. You know, you didn't have to. You just did it. And I had money. Not a lot, but I had money. I remember when I was an E3, before the big pay raise in '71, I was getting $63 every 2 weeks. But I had a meal card, so I ate at the chow hall. I lived in the barracks. I had no bills, had no car either, but I had no bills. And so I saved probably more money per capita there than I probably have my whole life just about.
How was training? Easy, hard?
Basic or tech school?
Tech school.
Tech school, it wasn't hard. It was all totally new stuff that, you know, garden airplanes and stuff like that. Cop, you know, we wrote tickets. No, you walk around airplanes, you know. And but there was some parts that were kind of tough. The crawling, getting shot at, bullets flying over your head, and the confidence course or whatever they call it, stuff. But it wasn't a killer school. I mean, it wasn't like Paris, the PJs, or Airborne, or anything like that. It wasn't nothing like that. No.
It wasn't what you thought it was going to be, though, either.
Right.
You're like, where's my weapon in my
Huh?
ticket pad? Like, when do I get to throw people against cars and arrest them?
Well, we still did that.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's nice. I guess. All right, so where's your first duty station?
Well, in tech school, I got orders for Fortuna, North Dakota.
Tuna?
Fortuna.
Okay.
It was a radar site on the Canadian border up in North Dakota. And 2 days before we graduated from tech school, me and the other guy who was on my orders, we got them changed and we got shipped to Barksdale in Shreveport, Louisiana. We were happy about that. We don't know what happened, but we did not complain. And so I got to Barksdale, and that was hot. That was very, very hot, humid. It was worse than Texas. Of course, you're out on the they call it the stone, out on the ramp where the airplanes were, and it's 30 degrees warmer out there, hotter out there.
What was that like?
It was good. The hours that we worked a 9 and 3 schedule. We worked 3 evening shifts from 3:30 to midnight, 8.5 hours. We worked then we were off a day. Then we worked 3 night shifts from midnight to 7:30, only 8.5 hours. The midnight shift was half-hour shorter, which made a difference in the world. Then your last 3 days, 3 day shifts, and then you were off for 3 days. And everybody, you had a little better camaraderie because everybody worked together and you were all off together. So, you know, camaraderie was a little closer most of the time.
So you made good friends then?
Yeah. One friend I just went and seen this past summer, went down to Texas and Louisiana, and I hadn't seen him since 1971 when I left.
And they still live there?
He was from Bossier City,
oh.
Shreveport, Bossier City. He was from there, and we got in contact on Facebook and a couple, 3-4 years ago, and we went down there. We stopped in. We spent the day together. It was just like they were left. We both had changed a little bit.
Just a little.
We were a little more mellower than we were.
What did you think of Louisiana since, or you've been back since then or no?
This that couple of days, that was it. It's all changed. There's nothing.
Is the base still there?
Yeah, the base is still there. The base has changed. I found our old barracks, and the ball diamond that was across the street is no longer there. There was a big, like CBPO, you know, processing personnel and all that stuff was there. Big new building. So was the ball field. It was gone. And because we used to go over there, walk across the street in the barracks, play ball, watch. They had little league games there. The kids play ball, so have something to do, you know. Because like I said, didn't have a car, so made the best of a bad situation.
Okay. At your first duty station, what happens next?
Pardon?
What happens next?
I got orders for Phan Rang, Vietnam. And then when I got to Travis Air Force Base to go, they told me my orders were red line. And I said, so what do I do? And he says, well, they'll give you new orders. They'll either send you back to Barksdale. And I'm like, yes, send me back to Barksdale. But no, I got orders for AKP Thailand. And I had heard of all the big bases in Thailand. I had never heard of AKP. And so that's how I ended up there.
Okay. Do tell.
Huh?
Do tell.
Yeah. Well, I got there, and I left January 19th. I got there, and I left in '72, and I left January 23rd of '73. 369 days.
So 1 year.
Yep.
Okay. I want to assume that you're still single at this
Yes.
time.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and
Good
you're still 19, or are you 20 by now?
20.
Okay.
20.
You're 20 years old. How did you get there?
Flew.
Okay. C5?
No, well, it was a military contract flight. Airlift International or something like that, and we flew from Travis to Anchorage over to Yokota Air Base in Japan, from Yokota Air Base in Japan to Clark Air Base in the Philippines. Then I got on a military flight to C-141 in Thailand.
Oh, you're the first person who didn't say I went through Hawaii.
I came back through Hawaii,
No.
which was good.
Okay. Did you get off and do some sightseeing? Or
Yes, because the plane was broke, so they landed. One engine went out, and they landed, and then they said, okay, it's going to take us X amount. You got X amount of hours. I can't remember how many hours it was, like 12, 14 hours, something like that. You can leave the airport, but you have to be back. So there was 5 of us, and we were going to rent a car. None of us were 25. Back then, you didn't have credit cards. We had enough cash and traveler's checks on us, we could have bought the stinking car, but they wouldn't let us rent it. So we ended up taking a cab all over. Went to the Dole Pineapple place. That was pretty cool.
That does sound cool. And tasty.
Yeah.
Very
well,
tasty.
over in Thailand, the fruit over there was awesome. I mean, you get a good fresh pineapple here in the States. That's nothing compared to what you got over there.
Like eating candy, huh?
Oh, it's good. I used to eat pineapple. I love pineapple anyway. I used to eat it. Waiting for the bus in town, they had these little, I don't know what you call them, little cart. We call them kiosks now, but back then it was a junk cart, you know. And they had ice and they had baggies of pineapple you can buy for a nickel. And I'd get 2 of them. By the time I got back to base, I had blisters in my mouth, you know, from the acid in them and stuff. And that, but all was good stuff.
Okay. You land in Bangkok?
Went Bangkok, and there we hit. I think we went to Utapao then Udon and Ubon, then NKP. I think we were the last stop.
Were you nervous or scared at all?
I don't want to say scared. I was. anxiety, maybe the word.
Anxious.
Yeah.
Were you able to travel with anybody that you knew?
No, I didn't know anybody flying over there.
Okay. Did you know anybody when you arrived? So this is all new. How did your mom feel about you being transferred there?
Well, she was pretty tore up when I went in the Air Force because it was during the war, you know. But then when I got orders to Thailand, when I left home, I was supposed to go to Vietnam. You know, she was a wreck. And I still remember sitting there crying. And, she would have said something, I would have went AWOL. But she knew, and from my dad went to Korea, so she knew this. Not something I wanted to do, but something I had to do, I guess.
If I can ask a personal question, and you can totally tell me no, did their divorce have anything to do with maybe post-traumatic stress disorder or anything to do with Korea? Okay.
No. I had a stepfather. He was awesome.
Okay.
Matter of fact, my mom and dad lived with us, and my mom died about 9 years ago, and my dad just died 2 years ago. He was 87 years old. He's healthier than I am now.
Wow.
But he fell and broke his hip. That deteriorated. Yeah.
They say that.
But up until then, he walked. He did stuff around the house. I mean, and when we went to the hospital with a broken hip, I told him, don't treat him like the typical 87-year-old, because he's not. I mean, this guy walks all over the place, you know. But then he got aspiration pneumonia, and it seemed like after that, downhill.
I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, back to you're at NKP.
Non-confidant. I'm short for non-confidant.
I keep saying
Bob Hope called it naked fanny.
I could say naked fanny.
Yeah.
I can get that. I don't want to say it wrong. Who do you report to?
The orderly room. With the orderly room.
And you get a hooch to stay in.
Right. The first thing you get there, they give you a helmet, flak vest, and a gun card for the armory to get an M16. Then they take you to your hooch and all this other stuff. And
how was the chow?
The chow hall?
Yeah. What'd you eat?
It's probably any place I've been in the Air Force, that was probably the worst. I mean, and it was still edible, but it was not good. Especially the box lunches. We get box lunches out on the field. You're in the kitchen, it's 130 degrees. They'll lay out 100 slices of bread, put 100 slices of bologna on it, put 100 slices of cheese, and by the time they get the other slice of bread on, this other stuff is hard. The bologna's dried up, the cheese is curled up on the edge, and they bring that to you out there to eat. So we used to look forward to sea rations. Give you an idea how bad it was.
I've been to museums and I've seen sea rations. Those came with cigarettes, right?
Well, that was the K rations, I think.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but we got them too. It's cigarettes. You know, 3 cigarettes, either Pall Malls, Chesterfields, or Lucky Strikes.
Okay. I bought a box of Lucky Strikes, and recently I took them home, but it was the candy. And I was like, look, and my daughter was like, you don't smoke. And I was like, but I got cigarettes.
That's some candy, though.
She fell out laughing. Okay. What do you remember most about the post?
Thailand?
Mm-hmm.
It was a long year. So I remember when I got there, I looked, I said, man, I got another year before I can go home. You know, I mean, the first day I was there, I was homesick. And, you know, of course, you were halfway around the world. Well, before I went in the Air Force, I lived in Cleveland. The furthest east I'd been was Indiana. The furthest west was Erie, Pennsylvania. And the furthest south was Montgomery, West Virginia. And, you know, you take the homeboy out of there, he was kind of homesick. But it was different than I thought, and but compared to some bases over in Thailand and Vietnam, it was not bad. It was not bad. The duty was not that bad. I mean, we got, I want to say, hit one night. There was gunfire, and one other time the Thai. See, in Thailand it was a little different. Vietnam, we couldn't shoot it. I mean, they'd come up to the fence and steal the razor ribbon that was casting the barbed wire and stuff that was around the perimeter. And we couldn't do nothing. We just sat there and watched them take it. And we'd call the Thai Army or Thai Air Force if they found time to get around there to get it. They'd do it, but half the time, there wasn't a whole lot of support.
So why bother calling, or why bother putting it out?
Well, to keep them off the base.
It did serve a purpose.
Yes.
Okay.
We had 2 rolls of razor ribbon, and they were probably about this room far apart. And we had trip flares on them and stuff like that, claymores and all that, and they always go where the trip flares were. They wouldn't steal it where the claymore mines were, because that'd be the last thing they stole in this life. But yeah, they go up steal, and we call Thai Air Force. They get around there eventually, and they're gone. The fence is gone. The bunker squad next day be out there stringing it back up again.
I did not enjoy that duty.
Yeah.
Tell me what an average day was. What time would you get up?
Well, while I was there, I worked 2 different shifts. I'd worked on B flight, which was the afternoon and evening, and then on C flight, that was night shift. You get off about 4:30 or 5, and you hightailed it to the hooch to go to sleep, because it was still, I won't say cool, wasn't as hot, but after about 10 o'clock, you wake up, this sweltering, and they had vents on the side of the hooch, but the roof was tin, and galvanized steel, whatever you want to call it, and they got hot. They got hot. And you get up and go to work. The next day, works mostly 6 days a week.
What did you do during the day? Like, you get dressed, you put on your flak vest. How heavy was it?
It was kind of heavy. We carried it with it. We didn't wear it all the time.
Really?
Yeah, we carried it. Like when you were on patrol, we had it there in the Jeep or truck or whatever. And if you were in a tower, you had it laying there next to you and stuff. Now, you hear something going on, you grab it and put it on. On patrol, mostly at nighttime, it give you a little bit of warmth. You wear it at nighttime. During the day, it was too hot to wear it. They were heavy, a lot heavier than the stuff now. They're probably 4 times the weight the vests the guys wear now.
Okay, so get up, get dressed, carry your flak vest to your assigned station.
Go there and draw, depending on what post you had, what weapon you drew out of the armory. You have guard mount, they take you out on post and give you a radio. You're either a tower, bunker, or patrol, or an entry control point.
So you did different duties every shift, or every day, or
usually every shift you were assigned. Sometimes you were assigned an entry control point at a flight line. Sometimes you were in a tower. Sometimes you were in a bunker. Sometimes you got patrol. And
which was your least favorite?
Working the bomb dump gate.
Explain. What's a bomb dump gate?
Where planes come in on in-flight emergency and they crash, they drop their bombs there. They wouldn't detonate most of the time. But they would drop them before they land in case they crash. Then, and But that was way out in the boondocks, and it was lonely out there. Nobody come out there to see you. And it was dark too. Well, it was dark. You're out there.
What weapon did you get assigned when you were out there?
Pardon?
What weapon did you have?
M16.
Okay. Okay. So you do your patrol for how many hours? 12 or?
Usually during normal security, 8 hours. But if it was heightened security or something, you stayed on. I mean, one night when they had the shooting going on down to one of the towers, I think we were on like 16, 17 hours before we got off. And of course, they had to make a sweep of the base in case anybody got on and everything, and it was an ordeal. So.
Okay. I know about ordeals. And so you just did the same thing 365 days? 69. 369.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you worked 6 days with 1 day off normally. And you got, was it 5 days? 6 days? R&R. I went down to Bangkok. Had a good time. That's all I'll say. And I came back, well, I went in November and I came home, and I came back to the States in January. So it was a long time from the time I got here to I did my R&R.
Okay. Okay. Did you make any friends?
Oh yeah, there me and 3 of us, 3 other guys here, we worked together. 2 I remember very well. 1 I kind of remember.
We won't tell him that.
Yeah. Well, I told him, I said, I remember the name, but I just don't remember any incidents or whatever. But then the other 2 guys, yeah, we partied a lot together.
How do you party in Thailand? Or, yeah, how do you party over there? What does that entail?
Smoking, drinking, women.
Where you were?
Wine, women, and song, all the above.
Only the military police, right?
Yeah.
You guys get away with a lot more.
No, it's pretty much everybody down there.
You guys did this in your off time, and you guys could come out the gate and do it?
Oh yeah, we go downtown. It was like 9 kilometers to downtown.
And this is when you were buying your pineapples?
Yeah.
Okay.
Munchies.
Got it. I understand. Okay. So you made it through your year. You made some friends and buddies.
Yeah.
It wasn't totally horrible.
No.
You had the one incident.
2. Yeah, 2. Yeah.
Maybe 2.
1 wasn't as bad as the other, but.
Anything else you want to tell me about your time there?
Yeah, I'm glad I wasn't married.
It is best to, yeah.
Yeah.
I can agree with that statement. I can agree.
See, I had my butterfly, that's what they called me, butterfly.
I want to ask why, but I don't know if we should record that.
Probably not.
Okay, we'll move right along.
What else?
I don't know, you tell me, this is your interview.
And off duty time, I mean, there was a couple guys that lived downtown called with a girl, Tilak, and they called it. And some of the girls cook pretty good, so we go down there, and that's usually when you got a good meal other than the restaurants. And I learned how to make, they call it cow pot, fried rice. Learned how to make that a while ago. I still make it to this day. It's good. And go down there. We go sightseeing, look around stuff.
Anybody get married?
Pardon?
Did anybody get married?
Yeah, there was one guy. He was married. We went to his house a lot, Luther, and his wife made some awesome fried chicken.
That's nice.
Yeah, and they invited us over, fairly regularly. We go over there and eat. And his wife had a kid, and then when I left, she was pregnant. So, and I've tried to get a hold of him, contact him, but I don't know, he still may be in Thailand, which wouldn't surprise me. We still got Facebook over there.
That's true. Come back to reality.
Yeah.
Okay, so you leave in 73.
Yep.
Beginning of 73.
Yes.
But you stayed in until 78.
Well, I got out in 74.
Okay.
Then I was out until 75. Came back in.
All right, so let's 73, you come back to the States. Where are you stationed?
Malmstrom Air Force Base, Montana. Worked missile support. Lovely. Good job.
Tell me about it.
It was a variety every day. You escorted the warheads out into the missile field. They called them topside runs, maintenance. You go out with maintenance guys to fix the missiles that were broke or something was broke. You had to have security and stuff. But it was this different, and we worked 3 on and 6 off. I had a job downtown working at a gas station, making almost as much money as I was as the E4 in the Air Force. And didn't save a dime.
Well, you were like 21, right?
Yeah.
Did you have anything to show for it, though? Like, were you driving a new hot Mustang?
Oh, yeah. Well, no Mustang. I drive a Camaro.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
1971 Camaro Rally Sport.
I can hear it. I can hear it.
Yeah.
All right.
And worked at the gas station, and like I said, stereo. I didn't live down. I still lived in Barracks. There's a couple guys that had apartments downtown our house. I stayed there every once in a while and crash bad, but for the most part, I lived in the barracks still. And then.
Were you whining and dining ladies?
No, I was engaged then.
Oh, okay.
My wife now, been over 45 years.
Congratulations.
She's put up with me. I met her, I knew her, but I didn't really know her real good. I met her, and she was one of my best buddies brought her as a date to my going to work party. And then a couple months later, we started writing, and we wrote for 10 months. I mean, we're talking 10, 12-page letters, both sides, almost every day we got, back and forth. And so we pretty much knew each other by the time I came back to the States. And got back to the States, and we had our first big date. I took the bus to her house, and we walked 2 blocks over to my aunt's house and spent the evening there with my aunt and uncle. Because I hadn't seen them since I got back from Thailand. So. And after that, then we...
You were done with the shenanigans.
Pretty much.
Okay. That's lovely.
And then we got married in Great Falls, Montana, Malmstrom Air Force Base at the base chapel. And none of my family was there. None of her family was there. She was with child. And thinking leave, man. We were going to get married in August, but we got married in February. We were going to get married, we just sped it up. And we got up there, and then the Air Force was doing the Carter cutbacks, and they said, you want to re-enlist? And I said, well, look, wait a minute, I just got married. I don't know if my wife's going to be happy with the military life or not. I said, it's up to me right now. Yeah, I'd sign. Yeah, no problem. And but being a newlywed, gotta wait till the dust settles here a little bit, you know. And they said, okay, don't worry about it. Well, about 2 weeks later, I got package processed out. So I said, well, so what do I do? I didn't want to re-enlist. Of course, I didn't want to commit, because like I said, I wanted some time. And they said, no, you got to get out then. So I got out, moved back to Cleveland, Ohio, lived with her parents, and because they said there was no jobs, I was working 2 full-time jobs and a part-time job. Both full-time jobs, I was making $2 an hour because I was minimum wage. And the part-time job, I was making $2.10 an hour.
What happened to the gas station job?
That was in Montana.
Mm.
I got out, we moved back to Cleveland.
Okay.
And so I told her, I said, Barb, you okay with me going back in the Air Force? She says, yeah, I think so. I said, okay. So I went back in the Air Force, and I got stationed at Ellsworth. And you know, when I went back in, they asked me what my bases of preference were, and I read off a couple bases, preferences. No. So I'm thinking of some other bases. No. I said, I tell you what, why don't you tell me what you have open? He goes, we got Minot, North Dakota. I said, no. He said, Grand Forks, North Dakota. No. He said, Ellsworth, South Dakota. I said, no. I said, don't stop now, man. He said, that's all I got. I said, oh, you're kidding me. So I said, well, let me take Ellsworth. That's the furthest south.
Mm-hmm.
And at Ellsworth, and got up there. I was there in a little over about 3.5 years, and I got out. And we liked it up there and stayed up there. We lived up there from 75 to 95.
Wow.
And finally figured out I got cold, so we moved to North Carolina then.
And you've been enjoying that ever since?
Yeah, I have 4 seasons, none extreme. You know, and really the snow in North Carolina is weird because it comes straight down, it doesn't go straight across. So.
I'll have to visit sometime.
Yeah, it's nice, beautiful country.
Okay, so you have at least one child, right?
Yes.
Any others?
Not 4 more, 4 altogether.
Okay. Any grandchildren?
Yes, 9 grandchildren,
Mm-hmm.
all girls but 1.
Good boy.
Yeah.
All right.
And Marty Jr., he's my buddy. So we hang out together, man. We go get our haircuts together and stuff like that, and you know, then we go to a donut place. He wants to hang with Papa because he knows Papa will eat. You know?
Yes. Gotta love Papa.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you a part of any other veteran organizations?
No. This never did. I worked for the VA, so I knew a lot of them. I for some reason, I just never did know, nothing against any of them, just never did join any of them.
Why are you here now?
Reunion.
Are you enjoying yourself?
Yes, absolutely awesome. Lots of memories.
That is really, really cool.
And we talked, what happened at NKP stays at NKP.
Okay. Okay. You work for the VA?
Yes.
Still currently?
No, retired.
What did you do?
It's police.
It's in your blood, right?
Yeah. Well, when I got out of the Air Force up in South Dakota, I got a job for Coca-Cola. I was route sales for about 3.5 years, and I liked it. It was a good job, but for the hours you put in, I mean, you made okay money, but you weren't making much more than minimum wage really for the hours that you put in. I mean, in the summertime, I'd be at the plant 6 o'clock in the morning. I wouldn't get home to 8, 9 o'clock at night. That was 5 days a week. Then you go out on Saturday sometimes. So I got 4 kids at home, and So then I bought a business, a car detail shop. And I did that for a little over 3 years, and I was having a bad day. Guy came in, made me an offer I couldn't refuse, and sold it. Well, then I was out of work, and then somebody said something about the police up at the VA in Fort Meade in Sturgis, South Dakota. So I applied and got hired as temporary, and I was a temporary employee for like about 10 months, and then they transferred me, paperwork, whatever you call it, turned me over to a permanent employee instead of a temporary employee. And being a VA cop was awesome, loved it. And it's like no other police work you ever done, because you really couldn't be, a prick sometimes. I mean, sometimes you had to be, but sometimes, I mean, you stop some guy that just ran a stop sign, you just find out he's diabetic or he's got cancer or something like that. You ain't gonna write the guy a ticket, come on, And so it was, some things you had to handle with kid gloves, and in other words, you had to put on the boxing gloves.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, especially up at Fort Meade, that you had a lot of guys from Vietnam, PTSD and stuff, and they would come in after hours, and requirement to get admitted to the psych ward after hours is you had to beat the cop on duty's hind end. Because we figured it was a requirement, because that's what they all do. and we fought a lot. I mean, really wrestled and stuff. And back then, the VA police, we were not armed.
Mm-hmm.
We had a PR-24 side handle baton and pepper spray. That was it. And the gift of gab. And but in the 21 years I was a cop, I used my pepper spray twice and my PR-24 twice. So, and one time, if we'd have been armed, I may have shot the guy. He pointed a cocked Winchester 30-30 and raised it up, cocked it, and ran at me. And I thought that was it. I said, if we'd have been armed, he wouldn't have put it out. I'd have shot him. That's probably the only time that we'd have guns. Now they're armed now, and they got armed right about 4 years before I retired. We got armed, which was a good thing. It was a good thing.
Probably necessary. Probably necessary. Okay. What are some life lessons that you learned from your military service?
Oh, just the discipline. I still do some things I did when I was in the military, like your gig line. I didn't want to go to church every Sunday. I make sure it's all lined up. So I got a shirt with a button down, straight, this weird stuff like that. And I got black shoes. I don't spit shine them, but I keep them polished. Yeah, I don't spit shine them. Not quite that bad. And just some of the discipline and it teaches you that you do a lot of things that you really don't want to do, you don't like to do, but you have to do, and you do it.
Is there anything you feel like we haven't discussed or that should be added to this interview?
Well, my career in the VA as a policeman, like I said, it was great. I took a military retirement. I took a disability retirement because when I was over in Thailand, I hurt my knee. Well, it came back to haunt me, and I couldn't. The arthritis and stuff, it was so bad, and it just didn't look good. Guy walking down the hallway carrying a 9mm Beretta, holding on to the guardrail to walk. Mm-hmm. And so I had to take an early retirement. So, but I made it to deputy chief. So I mean, it was
fancy.
Yeah. And I liked it, but I liked getting out and getting down with the guys. See, we called it you'd have a problem with a patient, you'd have to take down, we call it a slam time. Some slam time, yeah. And, but, you know, probably more patients have hurt me than I've hurt them.
Probably.
Yeah.
Those are like kit gloves.
Oh, well, yeah, you do. Well, like I said, you fight all the time. It's going to take a toll on you. But they had a good system. You got help, nursing assistants. You called, they came. But you know, if it takes them 30 minutes to get there, you can get a lot of licks in 30 seconds.
Right.
So, but yeah, I did that, and then like I said, then I retired, and then I had back surgery.
Are you feeling all right from that?
Not bad. I still have a lot of issues from being over in Thailand, the Agent Orange and stuff. I have neuropathy, I have shrinking hands, shrunk, and all the left side's a little bit shrunken. The diabetes and high blood pressure, and I have some heart issues.
Does the VA take care of you for that?
Yes, I'm 100% service connected, and the VA in Asheville, North Carolina is awesome. They are awesome.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I read these stories on Facebook, the Agent Orange group on Facebook. I read that, and I read the horror story. These guys have been fighting for 5 years to get stuff. I did the Agent Orange physical, did the paperwork. I was already 30% from my knee. And did the paperwork and stuff, sent it. 5 months later, 100%. Well, 170%, but don't go to 100%. And I just, you know, I'm very fortunate. And those guys, I just hurt for those guys that the VA keeps turning down or declining and all this stuff. I just can't believe it.
Breaks your heart.
Yeah.
It does. Breaks your heart. What message would you like to leave for future generations that will hear or view this interview?
Yeah. Be loyal to this country. Don't be a snowflake.
That concludes our interview with Orville Ed Henderson. Thank you for your time today and for your military service.
Thank you.